Welcome to Friday. We're a week in today, aren't we?
Yeah, this is number 7. Damn, we've evolved.
Yeah,
1 to 7, I think, is a big difference.
Grown. Knowing them, they're all like, ooh, so
yeah.
cool. Wow.
Stoked about everything.
Just like completely stoked about it.
We've grown.
I've got my Jesus on today.
Oh, yeah, you do. I think we should throw in that shot of Hula Jesus.
Yeah.
Hula Jesus. Yeah, that one's great.
Hawaiian Jesus.
Hawaiian Jesus, sorry.
That's right. So any news going on? Any new things happening?
There's still a global pandemic.
Yeah. We're still on lockdown.
We're still on lockdown. We're still isolated. We're really just
living on the farm.
It doesn't feel like we're isolated. I was talking to Ebony, was it yesterday? And we were just kind of talking about how crazy everything is, and I was like, I honestly don't really feel different.
Life feels normal.
Life feels pretty normal because when I live here, this is what I do. It was actually really nice. I was thinking when I went to the grocery store yesterday, and I was like, wow, driving like around the island's really nice. But at the same time, I was like, I'm super content, like just staying here and not leaving, and just like doing this, and working on the farm, and like going for runs every day.
It's pretty satisfying right now.
Maybe I'll just keep going.
There's probably so many people on the other side of the camera that are like,
"Fuck you,
fuck you guys, oh
My
yeah, you guys have a good life.
Sucks.
Screw you guys, I'm at home and depressed."
I'm gonna put in,
and I'm sorry for that.
I'll find those drone shots I have of the farm and I'll put them in.
Yeah, just make people jealous.
Make people real jealous.
Yeah, but remember, folks. In case you've forgotten from any other episode, if you're bored here, it's your fault.
Not here, there.
Yeah.
Where you are.
Anywhere you are. If you're bored anywhere.
You got to make the most.
It is your fault.
Where you're at.
And that's not to say we never get bored, because I definitely get bored. But
that's the thing. It doesn't matter where you are. You can be in the most entertaining place. After a while, it gets a little bit old. You just get used to it, right?
Yeah.
You gotta keep it new.
There was times when we were in Bali where I got bored.
Oh man, all the time.
For sure.
It's like you can only surf so much.
Yeah. But you also have to figure out how to kind of combat that boredom. And boredom is a normal
I'm so bad at that.
Point of life.
I hate being bored.
Well, it's a biological mechanism. I think we touched on this in a previous episode, but it's a biological mechanism to basically tell yourself, it's your body telling yourself, hey, you need to be doing something right now.
Yeah.
Anything, just not whatever you're doing. That's why you're bored.
Yeah.
Don't do nothing.
Don't do nothing.
Yeah. Don't be stagnant.
Should I say it?
My boss at work, she has this saying. She's one of the owners of the company I work for, or that I was working for. And her saying all the time, she has so many sayings, but one of her main sayings is, if you're not growing, you're dying.
Very true.
She talks about business, but I think that's true for personal stuff.
I was like, is that money, business, or humans?
Everything.
No, that's true, though. That is very true. I like that.
Yeah.
It's kind of intense.
Yeah.
It's kind of intimidating. But I keep on seeing, I think I said this in the last episode, I keep on seeing those Instagram things. It's like, that's like, if you don't come out with a book written or like a new
side hustle,
it's okay. You're doing great. And I'm like, yeah, but you should also try to do something.
If you can.
It is okay. It's both sides. It's like, it's
okay if you don't.
It's okay if you don't, but why not, right?
Why not try?
Like when in history, or when in most 98% of people's lifetime right now, like when in their lifetimes have you had the opportunity? I don't even want to call it an opportunity because that puts like a little bit of pressure on. The chance or the option to basically do whatever the hell you want
for
like all day. For a month.
At least
for however long this lasts.
It's been about a month for us so far.
And everyone's in the same boat.
Yeah.
And it's not just like you're like separated from society right now for whatever reason. It's like everybody's experiencing this.
And if you've gotten laid off from your job because of this, you can still make a living, albeit the money that I'll be making from the government is relatively close to what I was making at my job. Not quite the same, but it's pretty close. It's close enough where I can cover my basic expenses and continue living.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about it yesterday. I was like, okay, I still have an income, or I will be having an income to basically keep maintaining my life. Yeah. But now I have all the time to do this.
Yeah. Wait. This is a perfect segue just because of what you're talking about. She just put $signs.
Oh.
So money. And we're talking about money.
That's the topic today.
Wow, Dion.
$3 signs.
You're a magician.
Well, maybe she didn't mean money. Maybe it's symbolic. Maybe $3 signs represent something. Probably money.
I'm not that smart. I can't figure that out. It's just money.
Oh, that's a good topic.
So continue your talk about money.
Actually, that was going to spur me on to talking about taxes really quick.
Ooh, I hate those.
Because I know you've been having frustrations with your taxes.
So much frustration.
During your peak frustration, you're like, oh, this sucks. I hate taxes and fuck the government. And I know a lot of people think that way. But now with this whole curbs thing and how the government's essentially giving everyone who's been laid off X amount of dollars.
Yeah.
Callie and I were talking about it last night. We're like, this is why it's good to pay taxes. This is why it's good to pay your income taxes. Because now when shit like this happens, we can rely on the government to give us money and to help us out.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't hate taxes.
For sure.
I suck at it.
It's a learning thing.
I understand taxes, and I think taxes are very important, obviously, and everyone should contribute to their society. I just really suck at remembering and staying organized so it's easy. And I mean, like, nobody likes giving away money. But you just got to remember that it's going to shit like this, where, like, if shit does hit the fan, or whatever, there is someone there kind of to back you up to give a little bit more money, or fix roads, or blah, blah, blah. Even though, dude, the roads in Edmonton...
So bad.
They're legitimately dangerous. There was like close to a revolution of people in Edmonton because of how many people were pissed off.
Our potholes.
The amount of times I almost got in an accident on the highway because they weren't potholes, man. They were just holes.
They're craters.
They were literally like that deep, and some of them were so wide or long that they were unavoidable. So you're just like, all right, fucking here we go. Yeah. And the amount, like, I don't know how Peggy, my van, survived. There was so many times I'd be driving at night and I'd be like, oh shit, there goes the suspension.
It's a bad feeling.
It's so bad, man.
It makes me so thankful for our roads in BC because our roads are genuinely so good here.
Oh, they're so good. They're so good.
Even the worst roads, like our logging roads, are not that bad in comparison to like
they're Edmonton highways. Yeah. It's like our logging roads. Yeah. But it was literally like a video game. It's like you have to be paying attention.
Like dodging shit.
Like dodging shit. Like everyone looks drunk because they're trying to swerve out of potholes.
Moral of the story, taxes are good.
Even though the government doesn't fucking use them right sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes people get antsy and upset about them. But at the end of the day, I think in Canada at least, I think we're pretty lucky with what we pay for tax and how our taxes do get used, because at least we're not in a country...
Canada's pretty dope.
...where, you know, it's super corrupt and all of our taxes are literally going into... people's pockets, and we're super poverty stricken.
Yeah, we got it pretty good over here.
We have it really good.
We don't have much to complain about other than potholes.
Yeah.
Fix the potholes.
Yeah. So money, going off of that, what would you say is what's your biggest talking point when it comes to just money?
For me, it's always been like confusion between, and I kind of talked about briefly in the last episode, of figuring out what's important to you personally, and then what kind of life you want to live, and then having that idea before you determine what your money goals are. Because I feel like people do it the other way around. People go into, whether they're getting into university or they're picking their career, blah, blah, blah. A lot of the times it's based around like they want to make X amount of money, but they don't know what they want to do with X amount of money.
Right.
So a lot of times they're just like, I want to make $100,000 a year. And it's like, okay, but what are you going to do with it? Because there's lots of people that make $50,000 a year that are super happy with their lives, and they don't feel like they need anything more.
Yeah.
So I think it's definitely trying to determine the lifestyle you want to live before you pick how much money you want. Or not pick how much money you want. Strive for how much money you want. Because then you're like, then you actually have like a little bit more purpose for making money too. Like because I have had a bad relationship with money before, that I hate just making money. Like it's, and I know that it's extremely important and like you need money to live. But one of the reasons I put lifestyle first is because I don't like making money just to make money. I like making money for a purpose. And I'm not a huge believer in people just having like ridiculous stacks of money and having it just like sit when... I mean, I guess this is
what about a savings account or an emergency fund?
Emergency funds are different than being like a millionaire or a billionaire. Like, not to go to the like fucking political side of this, but I definitely think that you should make what you need, have a savings account, make sure you're backed up, but then also be aware that you don't need to, I don't want to say ruin your life, but lots of people do ruin their lives trying to make just ridiculous amounts of money. And I think just realizing that if you have enough to pay for what you need and live a happy life and support the lifestyle you want to live, you don't need to be like, hey, I need another side hustle to make another $100,000 next year, blah, blah, blah. And like, cause I feel like so many people definitely now with like, it kind of died out now, but remember like last year and even the year before, there was like that hustle culture, where everyone just felt like they needed to have like their own business, their own side gig, their own blah, blah, blah.
A lot of people still do.
A lot of people still do. And I'm not saying you shouldn't. It's amazing to have that. And it's amazing to have backups. I think having like multiple streams of income is super important. But don't like make yourself unhappy over it kind of thing. I feel like you got to enjoy the process.
At the end of the day, you should be doing something that gives you fulfillment.
Yeah. And I think trading money for happiness is not great. To sum that all up.
Some people get that fulfillment and satisfaction though, because I know from like working with different business owners.
Yeah.
When you're running a super successful company and you are seeing growth in your business, that's extremely satisfying and fulfilling because it's like, okay.
But that's because the business is like your baby.
Exactly.
Right? Like, like I think that's still a little bit different than just striving for money, because you're striving for money in a way that you're like creating and you're passionate. I mean, I hope you're passionate about your business if you have a business. Yeah. That you're gaining money, but it's at that point, it's just kind of like the gaining money is just a result of the good work you did. So it's almost like a reward for that.
Yeah.
And that I support. Like, that's awesome. Like, that's because if I made a business, that's how I would judge it too, is like, sweet, we made X amount of dollars this year, or we made X amount more dollars this year than last year.
It's a great indicator of success.
It's a great indicator. And so you could trade out, when I said like lifestyle, pick lifestyle first, you could just take lifestyle and put business in. Pick business first and then use that as an indicator to see how well your business is doing. But I just feel like a lot of people, and the people who are unsatisfied with their money, the people who don't get fulfillment from it, are the people who just want money to have money, money to have things, right? It's but if you have something where the money can be an indicator for it, then that's amazing. Then that's super fulfilling, because that just like, it's basically a pat on the back if you get paid like you're doing a good job.
Totally.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that, so I think that argument can be made then for like the millionaire, billionaire, like super rich class as well.
Yeah.
Because I feel like extremely rich and wealthy people get a lot of flack for being rich, because people are like, oh, what do you need all that money for? Like, you don't need millions and billions of dollars. Like, there's starving people, blah, blah, blah. Like, greed and selfish, blah, blah, blah. But the way I think of it is like, okay, like, look at us. We're living on the farm right now. And, you know, the farm is a business. To operate a farm and to officially call this a farm, you have to sell X amount of dollars worth of produce, meat, whatever.
Status.
You have to do stuff to maintain a farm status. Okay, so let's look at it as a business then. So we have to keep the power on. You know, we have to provide housing for everyone who lives here and who works here. So essentially, there's employees that live here, and there's infrastructure to be maintained. You know, we have to make sure that when fences get broken, we have to rebuild them. We have to make sure that we take care of the forest properly and that we clean them out so that they don't get pest-ridden or possibly burned down. So, you know, you look at it on the scale of the farm. It's like, okay, great. And going into that, let's look at maybe Jackie. I don't know her financial standing, but, you know, she probably has money in the bank just in case something like this happens where, oh, you know, the crops one year do really bad. She has to have money in the bank to make sure that she can cover all of her expenses and to make sure that she can pay her bills and, you know, buy food for the animals, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so that's the farm level. Let's expand that to like a Fortune 500 company with thousands and thousands of employees, let's say, and, you know, you have like the CEOs and the big mega rich guys. You know, a lot of people look at them, they're like, oh, these big mega rich guys, like, fuck those guys. They have all the money. They're taking all the money. It's like, okay. But they're essentially just running a bigger version of what the farm is.
Yeah.
Right? You know, they still have all their employees to pay. They have a business to grow. and they make a shit ton of money, and yeah, they probably spend a lot of their money in ways that, you know, people like you and I would be like, oh, like, do you really need to buy like that? Like, do you really need that kind of stuff? Yeah. But I think the argument could be made that, like, for them, they do, because I feel like if you're in that lifestyle, there is a certain, I don't know if like image is the right word, but there is a certain level of, let's just call it image, that you need to uphold in that lifestyle.
I don't say I would agree with that. Do you mean like images and like if you're a millionaire, you have to look like a millionaire?
Maybe, but also just like maintaining a good, successful company. But yeah, also maintaining your own, because chances are a lot of like millionaires, especially once you get into the billionaire class as well, like proper billionaires, people with like actual wealth, like they have.
What about Warren Buffett?
What about him?
He lives in the same house he lived in before he was rich. Yeah. He drives like an average car.
And that's great.
He eats at McDonald's.
That's great.
Like, so it's like that, but that's not a millionaire.
But not everyone wants that, you know?
No, I'm not saying that, like, so first of all, I don't hate millionaires and billionaires. Yeah. I think it's ridiculous. Like, I think it's insane that you can make that amount of money.
Yeah. It's crazy.
But I don't hate it. It wasn't necessarily a knock. It was just like a realization of how absurd it is to have that much money for one person or a couple or a family or whatever. Yeah. But at the same time, I know people are essentially individualistic. Like, they want to succeed themselves, and we need that drive. Like, we need something that we can get more and more and more and more. Because, like, I know one of the arguments that I know a lot of kind of like, I guess, left political people say is that they should be not taking necessarily money from them, but taxing them more and making them pay way more.
Which they do get taxed more.
Which they do get taxed way more.
Than you and I.
But let's say it came kind of down to a very more equitable system where once you reached $1 million, you make $1 million a year. Every cent over that goes to the community, and you don't gain more than that. That wouldn't work, because then if someone is individualistic, why would they keep going? Why would they keep going? Because like
if all your money is going to be taken away.
Because obviously everyone who makes that amount of money is either ridiculously lucky or they work ridiculously hard.
Definitely.
So why would people work that ridiculously hard when they're not gaining anything?
Exactly.
So you need to have that gain, and some people just do it really well, and they just make way more than everybody else.
Yeah.
But it's that I feel like the difference between the people who are fulfilled and the people who aren't fulfilled in that system or in that scenario is that the people who are fulfilled are not doing it for the money. They're doing it because they have goals and their aspirations, and they like working hard, blah, blah, blah. They enjoy the process, blah, blah, blah. People who aren't fulfilled are the people who are just like, I want a Lamborghini.
Right.
And they get a Lamborghini, they're like, it's fast, but now what? So it's
next thing. And
that's the battle I've had with money, because I definitely have gone back and forth between like, okay, I want to make a lot of money this year, and then being like, I'm living on the farm, I don't need shit, right? So it's like figuring out kind of that balance. But I've also come to the realization over the last couple of years that like it's just better to have money. It's like if you're gonna pick, even if you want to be a bum living in your van hippie for your whole life,
you need money.
Having an extra 50 grand at the bank isn't bad.
No.
Right? Like
no one would argue that.
No one would argue that. So that's kind of like where I'm at with it, is that don't get consumed by it, but have it, kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure. And one thing that my friend Kevin O'Leary taught me.
Your friend? Did you guys hang out?
No, not actually. I read it in this book. But one thing that I really picked up from his book, one of the main things that he says is that money is just freedom.
Yeah.
Right?
I agree with that for sure.
And if you want to do something, chances are it requires money or some form of value.
Something. Yeah.
Right? To do pretty much anything. If you want to, go skiing, if you want to go traveling, if you want to go on a trip, or if you want to own your own farm, or if you want to live off the grid, all that stuff, you know, it takes money. And so that's the way I've always looked at it, is like, okay, money just equals freedom. Yeah. I don't need millions and millions of dollars, because to me, it doesn't, like, obviously I wouldn't not take millions and millions of dollars, and I wouldn't I probably wouldn't give up the opportunity to make millions and millions of dollars, assuming that it was something that...
But it's not like a daily goal in your head. Like,
yeah, it's not a goal of mine. I'm not like, I want to make $1 million one day.
Yeah.
But I know, like, I know that I need money, and I know that money is definitely, it's super, super important for me. And especially this year, I've really started really paying a lot more attention to my financial situation. Mm-hmm. So, like, I can tell you on a daily basis, like, what my monthly expenses are, what my bi-weekly expenses are, what my annual expenses are, and also, you know, what my, I mean, before COVID-19, I could tell you, like, what my annual income is, and then, you know, how much I'm saving, how much I'm putting into here, how much I'm putting into here. Yeah. You know, like, I've just gotten a lot more dialed with that.
Like, how do you keep track?
I have, I have a few ways of doing it, but mostly, I have a spreadsheet.
Like a Google Docs thing?
Yep. Yeah,
I love spreadsheets.
Callie and I both have one, and we actually we both based ours off the same template. She had a friend that gave us one, and we both kind of used it. But I don't use it in the sense of. So let me be clear about this. Like, I was really lazy with it. I was like, I didn't make a spreadsheet by myself. I picked up Callie's friends who had one.
That's fine.
And I was like, whatever. I'm just gonna plug my own numbers into this, and so I did. But the more I do that, the more attention I pay to it, the more it enables me to want to, like, for instance, save money. Yeah. Because once you start saving money, and I think that's something that's really important that a lot of people don't really talk about. What are you looking for?
Nothing.
Sorry. I think that's something that's really important that a lot of people don't talk about, especially people our age. Yeah. Is, like, the importance of just saving money. Mm-hmm. Because no one wants to save money, because as soon as you get money, everyone feels this need. Most people feel this need, because I know for me it happens. There's this need for it to burn a hole in your pocket. You just want to buy something. Oh, what can I spend this on? What can I invest this in? Yeah. You know, but it's like, oh, why don't you try putting it into a bank account and just letting it sit there, and then give yourself the discipline not to spend it. Yeah. Because once you get that, I actually set this thing up. I set up a chart in that Google Sheets thing. I kind of did start nerding out a little bit over it, but I have this chart, and so every 2 weeks I update my entire financial situation. Yeah. So I take all my debts, and I take all of my, let's call them assets, all my, like, cash, basically, my different cash accounts, and I put them against each other to give me my total net worth. Yeah. And so every 2 weeks, I just plug in what my total net worth is. Oh, and it's really cool to keep track of it, because once you kind of know what it's doing, you're like, oh, look, it's, like, really growing, or, oh, look, blah, blah, blah. It's just really cool to kind of see, because then you can know real time, as opposed to just, oh, I think I have $330 in this account. Yeah. I think I have $26 in this account.
I feel like everyone's been in that situation where they look and it's, like, way less than they thought it was going to be, and you're like, fuck.
That's the worst feeling.
Yeah, it's the worst feeling. Yeah, it's funny you say, like, the saving thing, because I literally the beginning of this year, I was like, okay, I'm going to start putting X amount of dollars into the bank each month. And I chose, like, a really high amount, kind of, like, purposely to give me pressure. Like, hey, I need to make that much plus this much every single month to, like, keep that going. Totally. And it was just super. I mean, it was only, like, literally 2.5 months before COVID started. Yeah. But now I'm so glad that I did, because even though it's not that much, because I only did it for 2 months. Yeah. It's just like a cushion. Yeah. That's there. Yeah. And it's nice. Yeah. It's because I haven't had a cushion in a while. Yeah. And I've gone on a roller coaster of, like, of mentality of saving money, spending money, because after university, before I went traveling, I was the most frugal. Yeah. I did not spend, the only money I spent was literally to drive back and forth to work. And food. Because I lived at home. I was 18.
Oh, okay. So you didn't buy groceries?
I didn't. My mom bought. Thank you, Mom. My mom bought groceries. Don't move out. It's awesome having your food bought for you. But I went the opposite, that I wouldn't even buy things for, like, $2. I'd be like, no, I need that. I can use that on traveling. Yeah. And I saved so much money so fast. And I got like addicted to that like growth of income, that when I stopped working and I went traveling, I was almost too frugal and I was too scared to spend money because I was like, no, I need that cushion. I need that cushion. I need that cushion. So I almost like flipped the other way after a little while. And because I realized how ridiculous it was, and I realized I was missing out on opportunities because I was being so frugal.
Definitely.
And then after a while, I was like, you know what? Fuck it.
Yeah.
Let's just not blow my money, but like I'm not going to miss opportunities because I don't want to spend an extra $5 on something.
Yeah.
And then my life like completely improved because I was doing way more. I was having way more fun.
Yeah.
But then I was like, oh shit, it's getting low.
Yeah.
It's getting low. So I needed to like bring it back.
Totally.
And now I think just like the past year, probably I've gotten better at, I don't want to say budgeting because I don't really like specifically budget because I'm really bad at like attention to details.
Yeah.
But just making sure that like I have the cushion there and I know to not spend more than X.
Yeah.
Which is just like a very, very simple way of budgeting.
Yeah. And that's the best way to keep it, is keeping it simple. So I read this really good finance book, and it's really well written, but basically it's just called Worry Free Money. And the gist of it, it's super powerful. Like finance wise, it's probably the best money book because it's super straightforward. It's applicable to Canadians. Worry Free Money. Just check it out if you want to be better with.
What do you mean applicable to Canadians?
It's written because you know how like taxes in the U.S. is different from taxes in Canada. It's actually written.
Okay,
It's written by a Canadian author, or not an author, but a financial expert, whatever. And the main gist that I've gotten from that book that's really helped me is, okay, figure out what is your monthly expenses. Like, what is all the stuff you have to pay? Photo editing software, video editing software, phone bill, rent, groceries, all that kind of stuff. Car insurance
adds up.
You take that and you get the number from that. Okay, that's how much money you need to have every month.
Yeah.
Okay, and then so you take that, deduct it from your income, you'll have X amount of dollars left over. Whatever you have left over, take a portion of that, whatever portion you want, to put into savings. So put it into account where you're growing money. Okay, and then you don't touch that savings account, and then whatever's left over from that, that's just do whatever you want with it. And then that way you don't have to feel the pressure of like spending too much money. It's kind of hard to explain, but basically you'll have all of your expenses covered every month. Don't worry about it. Boom, your expenses are covered.
Split it. Yeah.
And then you know that you have money going into the bank. So if you have a month where you make like $200 more, say you pick up some shifts or you work some overtime, you have extra money. All your other stuff's covered, your savings covered. It's totally up to you what you want to do with that money. If you want to spend all that money on
ice cream,
muffins and ice cream and going to the movies, do it. It's your money. Go for it. If you want to do that stuff, go do that stuff. Because I've been in that too, that super frugal mindset of where you don't want to spend money on anything, and it totally hamps your mental health.
Yeah, and it feels so good when you make that extra 200.
Yeah.
When you make that little bit more or a lot more than you made the month before, you're like, I did it.
Yeah.
Success.
I think money is super, super powerful. And I think a lot of people just don't know how to use their relationship with money. A lot of people have weird relationships with money.
I have a terrible relationship with money.
Yeah, it's super common. And I don't know what the answer is to like get a better relationship. I just know like I've, figured it out for myself.
Yeah.
And I'm really happy about it.
I think I figured it out. It's just acting on it. And I acted on it right before COVID happened.
Right. Yeah, COVID-19 it'll definitely throw you through a loop.
Yeah, that was one of the first times in a couple of years that I've been like, I'm going to dedicate this year to making money and like getting everything covered that I need to get covered.
Yeah.
Then it was like, pandemic.
Yeah. That's for most people, but I mean, again, that's why we have the government programs to
thanks government
help us out and
billions of dollars to fix us,
to basically support us while we make podcasts. That's the way I'm looking at it. The government's like, hey, you want to make some podcasts with all this free time you have?
Guys,
you know what? Go for
fun.
it. Here you go. We're gonna enable you to do this. For me, that's how it's worked. So.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Money.
Money. Can't live without it.
Should we cut her off there?
Yeah. Money's freedom. And if you're bored here,
freedom.
Correct it. You know what to do.